Hey people, I want to bring something up here. Everybody keeps telling us that we need to work with the MAGA who have left the MAGA party. I have one problem with that and one acceptance with that. My problem is these MAGA have shown through their actions and their word that they have a lack of an ability to notice common sense. They have a lack of a willingness to research factual data. And they have too much of a willingness to believe whatever is said by their favorite candidate. Those things are not only hazardous to themselves, they are hazardous to the nation. It means that if they do not change their ways, that they will repeat their mistakes, placing our democracy and our nation in danger. And we cannot have that. So I will tell you, I will work with any MAGA who has shown the ability to reason through common sense. Tell us why they think the way they do. I will accept any MAGA who has the ability to go and research and even accept the factual research, even when it proves them wrong in what they're saying, because facts are more important. I will accept the MAGA who goes out and inseminates that fact onto other in their group without fear or favor, having no fear of what others in their group will say, knowing the facts are more important than their popularity. If they cannot show and prove that they have changed, they will forever be a danger to our democracy and to our nation. They were fooled by Trump, and they allowed themselves to be fooled by denying to do the research that was needed to be done. They were stubborn in their beliefs by not using common sense to reason out the facts. And in being fooled, they elected a man who did nothing but lie to them, regardless of the proof of otherwise, where he has said things that contradict what they thought they believed. Until they can prove that they can do better, they are a danger. They need to prove it. They need to be able to go out there and research any issue that is important to them. Research it. Look for the facts. Not just accept rhetoric that suits their own ideology. They must be willing to step above it, to use common sense to see. They must be willing to look at when a candidate says something contradictory to what they believe, that they accept that contradictory statement. They soak it in and decide from there whether they will accept it or not, and still vote for that hazardous candidate. They need to be willing to listen to the candidates on all sides. I listen to Trump just as much as I listen to Kamala Harris. And where I did not know the facts of the situation, I researched it. I looked for backdated statements that were made before. I looked through the statements they were presently making. I looked through fact-checking site after fact-checking site. And that's what you need to do. I found people who I trusted, who had always told the facts, who may have made occasional mistakes, and I listened to them. Midas Touch and Brando, Tennessee Brando, and Texas Paul often told the facts. There are times they made mistakes, and when I was uncertain about certain things, I looked it up. I looked for the original videos. You don't have to look up absolutely everything they say. There are things that you know are facts. But you do have to look up the things that are most important to you and that you are uncertain to the facts. It's just like on the video where it showed Elon Musk walking away from his son at the event. Now, it showed an angle from a woman's point of view when she said, "You're leaving your son behind." There was another angle that showed he stopped. Did he walk faster than his son? Yes, he did. Leaving him further behind him than what most parents would. But in the end, he stopped in an alcove there, turned around, and called to his son. Now, whether or not he did that because that lady hollered out, "You're leaving your son behind," or whether he did that because that was what he planned to do anyways, we do not know. We have no facts on that. We do not know what his thinking was. But everybody hollered that he just straight up left his son behind and walked away. That was not the facts. I do not like Trump. I do not like Elon Musk. But the facts are the facts. And the facts do not lie. The facts have proof to them, evidence to them. And you must look at that proof and that evidence. Would I love to bash Elon Musk for being an insensitive parent? Oh, yes. No problem with that. But if the facts do not prove that out, then you cannot do that. You must state the facts. The facts is he did walk a little bit faster than what the child could keep up with. He should have had a hold of his son's hand. He did not. He did walk up further from his son than what most parents would. But he did stop and turn around and call his son to him. He did not abandon his son. Did he leave his son vulnerable for a short period of time to where that child could have been abducted or hurt or whatever? Yes, he did. I've seen other parents do that too. But did he totally abandon his son? No, he did not. Now, whether or not he did not abandon his son because of the woman's comment of saying, "You left your son behind," or whether or not he had planned it, we do not know. We are not in his head. We cannot think for him. Therefore, we can only go by the facts of what we've seen. And that's how you have to think. It's common sense thinking. We do not interject our own beliefs into what we were seeing. So I encourage you that if you want to support MAGA who have left the MAGA group, to encourage them to change their way of thinking. If you do not, the only thing you are asking for is for them to endanger democracy and the nation again. So any MAGA who voted for Trump, 3 times especially, who shows that they finally got it in their head and learned how to critically think, how to have common sense, and how to research what is being told without bias, I will accept. Any MAGA who does not do that, I will reject. Because any MAGA who does not do that is still a danger to our democracy and to our nation. And we need to accept those who think about the nation before they think about themselves. And I will also not accept any MAGA who has bigoted or misogynistic or anti-LGBTQ ideations. It's wrong. It's wrong. We are all equal. We are all human. We are all made by God. And anybody that uses God to accept their bigotry is wrong. They are the ones who are evil, not those of us who accept others as God has made them. The fact is that LGBTQ were created by God. Children with both male and female sex organs were created by God. Children with male and female chromosomes and male and female hormones were created by God. The question is, will you accept them the way God created them? That is the only question. You need to stop and think, why would God create a being like that? Would he be so cruel to create them to be hated for eternity? Or would it be a test on man? We expect God to love us unconditional, our flaws and all. We have rejected many things God has created and wiped them off the earth. Maybe God made other humans different than ourselves, not for them to be hated, but to test whether or not you are able to love them unconditionally. Satan's greatest trick was not fooling us into thinking he did not exist. Satan's greatest trick was into fooling us that we had the right to speak to God, for God, and to judge for him what is acceptable and what is not in his creation. We need to change how we think. We are not God. God is God, and he speaks through his creations, not through your willingness to accept or deny it. So I suggest you people start thinking about that before you start thinking about who you are going to accept in our political circles who used to be MAGA. They must be willing to show that they have learned from their experience. They must be willing to show that they are willing to look at reason, to think common sense and critically, to do their research where need to be, to not just follow their own biases, but to be able to look past them. As I showed you, I looked past my biases when it came to Elon Musk leaving his son behind in that one video. You must look past the rhetoric and look for the facts. And that includes looking for videotape proof of what your facts are. And if it shows different than what you think you know, then you must be willing to alter your thinking. If you cannot do that, then that is your problem, and you are in a danger. You are a danger to society. You are a danger to our democracy. You are a danger to our nation. And we have no obligation to accept you just because you left the Trump party. Because that is not proof that you will not make the same mistakes the next time around. I do not vote by what party I like or dislike. I vote by what politicians say and do and what is fact. Now, if a Republican stepped up and in their actions and their words and their policies, they proved that they fell in line with most, not all, but most of what I believe this nation should be going towards, and they made sure that my most important issues were addressed, I will vote for them. And right now, the Republicans are not them. The Democrats are. And right now, I can't trust the independents because far too many Republicans who are on that thought line of the MAGA party have infiltrated the independent party. So I can't trust them. Through the actions and the policies that the Democrats have wanted to put in place at this moment, they align with me. Back in the 60s, they wouldn't have. They would have aligned more with the Republican Party. But as today, who they are today, they align with me. Tomorrow, the situation may flip. 50 years from now, the Republican Party may end up more like the Democrat Party, and the Democrat Party more like the Republican Party. But we will face that issue when that issue comes along. Right now, for today, the Democrat Party is the one that is most aligning with what the people want, while the Republican Party is the ones that are most suppressing what the people want. So think about that. And before you accept a MAGA for leaving the Trump party, make sure you're accepting them for the right reasons. If they can't get their head out of the thinking that got them to vote for Trump, then they are not safe for our nation. So remember that. And let's do better going forward.